back when I was in college. I rented a house with 2 friends. The place was old and kind of falling apart, but it was cheap, and that's all that mattered to us. The only part of the house none of us liked was the basement. It wasn't finished, just cracked concrete floors, stone walls, and a single bare bulb on a string. The ceiling was low, and no matter how hot it got upstairs, the basement was always damp and cold. 2 small windows faced the backyard, set right at ground level. If you stood outside, you could crouch down and look straight in. Because of that, we avoided going down there at night. We mostly kept storage boxes and old furniture down there and never thought about it much. Until one weekend. Both of my roommates had gone home to visit their families, and I decided to stay behind. I had a pile of assignments due, and I figured a quiet weekend alone would help me catch up. The first night was fine. I ate some leftovers, watched a movie, and went to bed around midnight. The second night was when it happened. I was sitting at the kitchen table, typing on my laptop, when I heard it. A soft, steady tapping sound coming from below me. At first, I thought it was the pipes. It was an old house, and the plumbing made weird noises all the time. But then it came again, and again. Perfectly spaced taps, like someone knocking lightly on glass. My stomach sank as I realized it was coming from the basement. I stood there for a while, listening. The tapping stopped the second I opened the basement door. The house was silent, too silent. I grabbed a flashlight and started down the stairs. Each step groaned under my weight. When I reached the bottom, I pulled the string on the bulb. It flickered to life, filling the basement with a weak yellow glow. At first, nothing looked out of place. But then, I saw movement. One of the basement windows. Someone was crouched outside, their face pressed up against the glass. I froze, flashlight shaking in my hand. Their features were hard to make out through the grime, but I could see enough. Wide, staring eyes, a crooked grin. The second the beam hit their face, they dropped out of sight. I bolted up the stairs so fast I nearly tripped. I slammed the basement door shut and locked it, then ran through the whole house, locking every window and door. I barely slept that night. The next morning, I tried to convince myself it was some drunk neighbor messing around, even though the houses weren't that close together. When my roommates got back later that day, I told them what happened. Of course, they didn't believe me. Not until I convinced them to check the basement with me. We went down together. The boxes were untouched. The floor was damp, but clean. But when we looked at the window, one of my roommates swore under his breath. On the inside of the glass, faintly visible in the condensation, were streaks. Finger streaks. Like someone had dragged their hand across the window from the inside. We stood there in silence for a long time. None of us could explain it. There was no sign of forced entry, and the basement door had been locked from the top the whole time. After that, none of us liked being alone in the house. We'd hear noises at night, knocks, faint footsteps, sometimes that same tapping sound, and we always tried to brush it off. But whenever I walked past the basement door, I swear I could feel eyes on me, watching from the dark. We ended up moving out at the end of the semester, and to this day, I can't shake the image of that face pressed against the window, staring in like it had been waiting for me all along.